I should like to call your attention this evening to the argument of that second chapter of Paul's first epistle to the Corinthians, which we read at the beginning. You remember that it begins with these words in the first verse. And I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of God. But as I say, my intention is not merely to deal with that first verse, but with the entire chapter. It must have been obvious to you, as we read it together once more, that the whole chapter contains just one big argument. And it is to that argument that I say I would like to call your attention. Now, I have a very special reason for doing this. And that is that it seems to me that here is one of the most important statements that we can consider together who are concerned about the Christian faith and the Christian message just at this present time. The gospel's message, of course, is timeless. It's ageless. It is always the same. It doesn't change. It's the everlasting gospel. It's the same message as it was 100 years ago. It's the same message as it was 1,000 years ago. It's the same message that has been preached for nearly 2,000 years. But it is important for us to see that this message is heard in its setting, in its context, whatever the period, whatever the epoch may chance to be. And thus it has happened throughout the running centuries that this one and only and same gospel has had to be presented in different forms, and for this reason, that men and women approach it in different ways. And it is because this question of our whole approach to the gospel is such a vital one and a fundamental one that I'm calling your attention to the argument of this gospel at this present moment. The apostle, you see, is here addressing Greeks, the members of the church at Corinth. And being Greeks, they've got a very particular mentality and outlook. And he is concerned to show them the difference between the gospel of Jesus Christ and the natural outlook in which they'd been brought up as Greeks and as philosophers and so on. Well, now, I want to do something similar this evening, because there is no doubt at all that the prevailing outlook today, the prevailing mentality, is the one which calls itself the scientific outlook. There is more talk about this than perhaps there has ever been before. And at the present time, as we've been noticing the past 2 Sunday nights, this is, of course, the thing that is in the very forefront of the news and is being kept in the forefront, therefore, of our minds. I'm referring to this remarkable achievement to which so much attention is being paid, of how the Russians have been able to send this man up into orbit, into outer space, and how he's gone round a circuit round the Earth in that incredibly short space of time. Now, this is but something that symbolizes to us the whole of the modern outlook and the modern mentality. Now, we've been looking at this. First of all, we looked at it like this. We saw the danger into which so many have fallen of drawing a false conclusion from this achievement. Their argument was that men now, surely, who has sufficient power to conquer the force of gravity, can surely, if he applies the same ability and knowledge, conquer the power of evil that is marring and ruining the life of mankind in this world. That's the argument. If we can do it there, why not here? Why this contrast between scientific achievement and man's failure, obvious, disastrous failure, in the realm of living and ordinary life and human relationships? We tried to show the tragic fallacy that is at the base of that kind of argument. And it's a most important one, because the first thing that man has to realize is that he can never develop sufficient dynamic and power to defeat and to conquer and to master the evil that has become a very part the very warp and woof of his nature and his constitution. And then last Sunday night, we were showing how, while the world is so ready to glory in men and any achievement on the part of men, it is so tragically blind to the man Christ Jesus and his achievement. Him that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. But the world isn't glorying in the Lord. Jesus Christ is not being gloried in tonight. Men are being gloried in, and the achievements of men. But the staggering, astounding, amazing things that he did when he came, he, the Son of God. The whole world ought to be at his feet, worshipping him, adoring him, and praising him, but it doesn't. He is ignored. The world is much more interested in film stars than in Jesus Christ, more interested in scientists, more interested in the man who makes the experiment of being shot up by the rocket. They glory in men, but they do not glory in the Lord. You see, my friends, these are the things that account for the state of the world tonight. It's because the world is like that, and because it's blind in these respects, that its conditions are what they are. This isn't irrelevant. This is the whole cause of the trouble. The world didn't recognize its own Messiah. The Jews, his own people, didn't. And mankind has persisted in that blindness and in that refusal ever since. Well, now we've looked at that, but I want to go on another step this evening. And this further step is to me a most important and a most vital one. I am increasingly convinced that most people tonight in this country who are not Christians for one main reason, and that is that their whole approach to the subject is so wrong, is so false, that they never can become Christians as long as they approach it in that way. Now, that is the matter that we have to deal with this evening. Because here, you see, is a chapter written by the great apostle. And his whole object in the chapter is to show us the complete and the entire contrast between Christianity and every other type and kind of teaching. Now, there is something which is almost baffling in the way that people so constantly fail to see this. Here it is. This one chapter ought to be enough. But it's only one example of the same kind of statement which is found in many parts of the Bible. And yet people will persist in falling into this error. They will persist in approaching Christianity in exactly the same way as they approach science, philosophy, art, or anything else. And they're amazed that they're not believers, that they're not Christians. They say they can't be. That they approach it, they've examined it, and finding that it doesn't seem to agree with what they think, nor that it isn't what they thought it was, they remain outside. Oh, there is nothing, I say, that is more important than this whole question of our approach to the Christian message, to the Christian faith. And I want to show you that it is, as I say, the exact opposite, the complete antithesis, in every respect, to every other type and kind of learning and of knowledge and of advance. Now then, here we are in this modern scientific age. Here we are seeing what men can do and what men can achieve. Let's look at that and compare it and contrast it with the way in which one becomes a Christian. Look at it like this. Let me say in the first place that the whole method is different. Now, before we come to the subject, the method is different. In every subject you have a method, haven't you? There is the scientific method. It's a very definite and well-recognized method. There are other methods that you apply when you're dealing with poetry or art and things like that. They're not scientific in the sense that pure science is. Now, here's a question of method. And before we come to look at the content of what we are examining, we've got to realize, I say, that in this whole matter, even of method and of approach, there is a complete and entire contrast. Now, I'm dealing with this for this reason. That there are so many intelligent, able people tonight who are not Christian, and this is what they say. Well, now they say, what I do in every other realm, when I come to do it in yours, doesn't seem to work, and therefore they're not Christians. Well, now, the tragedy is that they ever thought it should work. Let me show you why. What is the scientific method? How has this wonderful achievement of men come about? What is the essence of this scientific method? Well, I think you'll all agree that it's this. It is based fundamentally upon man's ability, man's understanding. Now, there's no question about that, is there? What has just happened, this marvelous achievement and many others, they all fall into the same category. This very microphone to which I'm speaking is, in a sense, quite as wonderful. Now, where does all this come from? Well, the answer is, and let's be quite frank about this, there's no difficulty about this at all. This is the result of man's brain power, man's ability, man's understanding, man's capacity and propensity. These, you see, these things are the result of man's power of reason. Having examined the working of nature, he has come to the conclusion that there are certain laws, the so-called laws of nature. Now, it takes intelligence to discover that. It takes ability to know that. There was a time when people didn't know this, but now man, as he's gone on and has used his knowledge and applied it and reasoned, he's discovered that there are certain laws. And then, having done that, he says, well, now then, I wonder whether we can't harness these and use them and employ them in order to do something else. Now, that is the essence of the scientific method. But it's obvious, isn't it, that it is based fundamentally upon man's ability, man's capacity, man's understanding and reason. Very well. Starting with that, what does he do? Well, the next thing he does, of course, is he begins to seek. He says, yes, I see these things are happening, these things are possible. But now, in the light of my discovery as to how these things happen, I wonder whether more can happen. In other words, he discovers that sound, for instance, comes in waves. So he began to think, can't something be done about this? Can't we invent an instrument that will, as it were, take hold of these waves and pass them on in a given way, and then another instrument at the other end to receive them and to reinterpret them and send them back to us as if we were hearing ordinary sound? Now, that's pure reason, isn't it? That is the scientific method. Man seeks, searches, examines, puts up postulates, examines them, tests them. In other words, I'm describing the process which is known as research work. That is what is meant by research. A man sets out seeking further knowledge, deeper understanding, and then he tries to produce inventions. How does he do that? Well, he does it by experimentation. He does it by trial and error. He says, now, it seems to me, if I only make a machine like that, then that ought to let off this and that ought to let... Now then, and then he builds the machine. And then he tries the experiment. First time the whole thing blows up. He's not deterred. He said there was a mistake there was a fallacy there. Trial and error. So he makes it again, and then he safeguards against that accident. This time, it does go up a certain height, then it explodes. Still, he's not deterred. He's not daunted. He says, I can overcome that. You see, the whole time he's using his ability, using his knowledge, using his reason, using his understanding, trying, experimenting, discovering mistakes, improving, and on he goes, until at last the man has entered the outer space in the capsule, and he's gone in the circuit round the world. Marvelous, never done before. The first man who's ever done it. Now, that is the result of the scientific method of approach to truth, the scientific method of making discovery. All right. Let's grant 100% that it's a very wonderful thing, a very marvelous thing. There is great power in the human mind. Man is a most remarkable being after all. Oh yes, let's give full credit. He's used the scientific method, and that is what is discovered. That is what he has achieved. Well, now then, come to this other realm. Come to the realm of Christianity and the Christian message. Come to the realm of man himself and life and living. Come to the realm of man's knowledge of life itself, its object, its purpose, death, what lies beyond death and the unseen spiritual realm. There it is. See, there was a problem in the scientific realm. Here's this other problem. How is this approached? Now, here is the vital question. It's here, I say, so many go tragically wrong and fall into error. They have a feeling that all they need to do is to take what has been so brilliantly successful in the realm of the scientific, switch it over to this other, and then the result should follow equally inevitably as it did in the other case. But, my dear friend, that is the fundamental mistake. You have got to realize that when you come to the realm of these things, it's altogether different. There is nothing the same. Let me prove my point to you. The great apostle devotes his whole chapter to it, and I tell you why he does it. You see, some of these people in Corinth, though they'd believed his gospel and had become Christians, were still in a little bit of trouble about this. They were still tending to bring with them out of their old, former, unregenerate life the method they'd employed there. And they were criticizing the apostle that he hadn't done the same thing. You see, he had come in weakness, fear, and much trembling. He hadn't adopted the enticing words of men's wisdom, the philosophical method, argument and counter-argument, and all the subtleties, and all the rhetoric that characterized the Greek. He hadn't done that. And subtle people had come to him and said, why, you shouldn't have believed that man. The man's a fool. He's nothing to look at, and he can't speak. Look at him. He didn't argue and reason like our philosophers do. And they were beginning to believe this. That's why the apostle writes to them. And he says, look here, can't you see you're denying the whole thing? This Christianity, he says, has nothing to do with the other method. Now, this is his way of putting it. Here, we are not dealing with the scientific method. What are we dealing with? We are dealing with revelation. Listen to this 10th verse. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. Now, there is no greater contrast in the world tonight than the contrast between the scientific method of research and revelation. A man discovers the knowledge in this other realm by brain power, understanding, trial and error, experimentation, reason, research. But here, it's the exact opposite. It's a veil being drawn back and a sight being given of something. Here, you see, it isn't man seeking, man is receiving. Now, I want to put the argument to you in detail as it is put by the great apostle himself. Look at it running right through the chapter. Look how he starts off. I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom. That's it. There it is already. In the other realm, excellency of speech is a good thing, and wisdom is absolutely essential. He means by wisdom, of course, philosophy, man's thinking, man's understanding, man's discovery, man's capacity. He starts off by saying, I came unto you not with excellency of speech or of wisdom. You see, he throws down the gauntlet at once. It's a complete contrast. I didn't come, he said, to reason something out with you. I didn't come to enter into the quest for truth and for knowledge with you. I didn't come to rejoin the research team. I came declaring unto you. You see the contrast? Not seeking, declaring unto you the testimony of God. But let's go on to the 4th verse. There he says again, my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of men's wisdom. Notice the negatives in this chapter. The chapter is full of negatives. He keeps on saying it. I didn't come like this. I didn't do that. And all along, he's saying it's the negation of the scientific method. Well, dear me, says someone, do you expect us to listen then? Are you addressing us in a scientific age and saying that this is the negation of the scientific method? We might as well go out. It's all wrong. You're asking us to commit intellectual suicide. I'm not, my friend. I'm asking you to use all the brains you've got. And I want to show you this, that if you do use them, you'll see very soon that your scientific method cannot possibly succeed here, and that it's only a madman who'd ever imagine it could. No. He says it's not. With subtle argumentation. No, he says it is not. With enticing words of man's wisdom. That's another way of saying that it isn't with these subtle sophisms of the sophists, these clever arguers, these philosophers. It isn't that. And then, you see, having said that in verse 4, he says it again in verse 5, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men. No, this other business is the wisdom of men. I've said, wonderful, I've praised it, and it is. But you see, this is not in the wisdom of men. That is entirely the wisdom of men. This has nothing to do with the wisdom of men. Could a contrast be more extreme? And then you see, he says it again in verse 6. Howbeit, we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, then lest they might fall into their error again. Yet, not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. Oh, yes, says Paul, I've got a wisdom, you know. You people have been saying that my presence was weak and my speech contemptible, and that I didn't speak with enticing words of men's wisdom. You say this man knows nothing. He's got no wisdom. Ah, says Paul, I have a wisdom. But it isn't the wisdom of the world. It isn't like that. It's altogether different from that. Well, there again it is in verse 8, which none of the princes of this world knew. For had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. And the princes have an advantage over everybody. The princes are at the top of society. And he means princes in ability and in knowledge and understanding, as well as in the more ordinary connotation of the word. The philosophers, the great men, the leaders of the Jews and the Greeks, when the Son of God came, they didn't recognize him. You see, it isn't earthly human wisdom. They can recognize a human prince. They can recognize a great philosopher. They can always spot and recognize a genius. But when the Son of God stands before them, they crucified him. They didn't recognize the Lord of glory. It isn't the same thing, you see. It's the exact opposite. Then let me take you to verse 9. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath it entered the heart of man, the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. Man lives in the realm of the eye, the ear, the heart, doesn't he? All his brilliant achievements result from that observation, reason based on observation, eye, the things he hears, the things he remembers, the things he applies, heart, feeling. Man lives by that, but you see, says Paul, the things I'm talking about, eye hath not seen, neither ear heard, neither hath entered the heart of men, the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. Go on to verse 11. Now here he's putting a question. What man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of man which is in him? That's how you know a man. You've got the same sort of spirit in you, and it corresponds, and you understand. Even so, the things of God knoweth no man but the Spirit of God. These are not things of man, these are the things of God. And then, very definitely and explicitly in verse 12, now we have received not, again the negative, not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit which is of God. It isn't that. That's not right here. It's inadequate. It is the Spirit that is of God. And you notice the words? He says, now we have received. He doesn't say we've found, we've discovered, at last by experimentation we've arrived. We have received. And a pauper can receive. An ignoramus can receive. A little child can receive. Here he says, it isn't discovery, it's receiving. It's receiving a revelation. And then to add to it, he puts it like this. We have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit that is of God, that we might know the things that we have at last discovered about God. No, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of God, that God gives us for nothing. It isn't our achievement, it's God-giving. You see, the contrast is everywhere as extreme as it can possibly be. Then you get verse 13. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. You know something of the scientific jargon, don't you? All right, it's wonderful. It's because they understand the meaning of the terms and can talk about atoms and ions and electrons and all these other marvelous things that they've succeeded in this brilliant achievement. But you know, my friend, let me make it plain and clear to you, lest anybody be under any misapprehension. That jargon and terminology is not of the slightest value here. And the person who doesn't know the first thing about science is in exactly the same position here as is the greatest scientist in the world at this minute. You see, it's very different, isn't it? The very speech, the terminology, everything is in an entirely different thing. And then he goes on to verse 14. Listen to this. The natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. Here were clever Greeks. Here were brilliant philosophers. Here were the scientists of those days. And they didn't receive this message. Why? Well, because they hadn't sufficient insight and understanding to see that these things were in a category apart. They didn't belong to that natural realm at all. The natural man as he is by nature, doesn't believe this. It's foolishness to him. Neither can he believe it as long as he's approaching it like that, for it is spiritually discerned. Not scientifically, not philosophically, not artistically, spiritually discerned. And it's the only way to discern it. In other words, the contrast is absolutely complete from beginning to end. Now, that's the argument of this whole chapter. Is the apostle saying something new and something strange? No. He's just saying in his own characteristic way the very thing that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ said on more than one occasion. Do you remember how he said it to that great man Nicodemus, a master of Israel, who came to him at night and said, Rabbi, thou must be a teacher come from God, for no man can do these miracles that thou doest, except God be with him. In other words, what he was saying, you see, was this. Let me paraphrase it. He said, I've been listening to you for 2 or 3 days. I never heard preaching like yours. I'm a teacher myself, and I'm a master. You've gone much further than I have. I've discovered a great deal. I've got a good memory, and I've sat at the feet of good teachers, and I am what I am. But, you know, you've gone ahead of me. I want to know what this extra thing you've got is. How can I get it? I've seen your miracles. I felt the same. There's something unusual. You must be a teacher sent by God. What is this? Tell me. How can I advance to where you are? Back came the disconcerting and surprising reply. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. You've got to be born again. What's this? Said Nicodemus. How can a man be born when he's old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? The thing's ridiculous. You see, he's applying the scientific method to the statement. Christ says, a man must be born again. Nicodemus, with the truly scientific spirit, comes and says, how can this be? How can a man be born when he's old? How can a man enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? What are you talking about? This is cutting right across everything I've ever known. This seems to me to be madness. This doesn't conform to all I've ever learned and ever understood. But our Lord went on and said, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot see the kingdom of God. He can't see it nor enter it. Why, well, you see, here's the answer. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again. Don't marvel at it. You haven't understood the first thing. You're wrong in your presuppositions. Your whole approach is wrong. Don't marvel at this. The wind bloweth where it listeth. Thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh, nor whither it goeth. So is every one that is born of the Spirit. You see, it's a mystery. All the rules don't apply here. All once known in every other realm is no longer adequate here. A great teacher must be born again, got to go back to the beginning. It's exactly the same thing. Or if you prefer it, take this other statement of it, made by our Lord on one occasion. You'll find the account in the 18th chapter of Matthew's Gospel. He took a little child, and he set the child in the midst of them, and he said, "Except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven." Now, this is a staggering thing. It doesn't matter what you are nor who you are. You may be at the top in science or in philosophy, in anything else. It makes not the slightest difference. You've got to come down and become as a little child. Otherwise, you'll never enter this kingdom. Now, you see, that's the complete reverse of the other, isn't it? Of course, the more a man knows, the more he is likely to know, the more likely is he to succeed. It's your most brilliant brain. It's your most knowledgeable scientist. The man who passes his inter-science BSc, he's not the man who sends a man up into the orbit to go around the world, as this man has done recently. No, a smattering of science isn't enough. The more you've got, the better. The higher up the scale, the better. And the ultimate specialist is the greatest of all. That's the human method. It isn't here. To everybody this says at the outset, "Except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven." You've got to leave your science, your philosophy, your art, your music, your drama, your learning, your everything, your morality, your religion. Leave it all on the street as you enter into the portals of this great message. You've got to come in as a little child. This is the Lord's teaching. It's the teaching that we have here in this second chapter of this first epistle to the Corinthians. Now then, the method is absolutely and entirely different. Have you realized that, my friend? Have you been pitting your mind against this? Have you been trying to understand this? Have you been like Nicodemus? Have you been bringing your scientific method? It's not surprising you're not a Christian. Why not face the rules at the beginning? That's what you do in your science, isn't it? You must learn the approach. Do the same here. And here you are told at the very outset that whatever you are and whatever you've got will avail you nothing. With men, it is impossible. That's our Lord's own statement. And he gave it by way of reply to this question: who then can be saved? And that's his answer. With men, it is impossible. But not with God, for with God all things are possible. Very well. Here is an entirely different method. Why is it different? Why is all this true? The answer is given us again in the chapter. There are two main answers. Let me summarize them. The method is essentially different and has to be because of the type of knowledge with which we are dealing. The type of knowledge. You know something about this scientific knowledge, don't you? We needn't stay with that. That's a type of knowledge. Discovery of laws, harnessing of them, supposition, hypothesis, testing, discovery, invention, brilliant result. But it's a type of knowledge, isn't it? Things that can be touched and seen and felt and handled and measured and assessed and weighed. All right, that's a type of knowledge. But here, you know, we are dealing with an essentially and an entirely different type of knowledge. What is it? Well, he tells us in the very first verse, "I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you," what? "The testimony of God." Not scientific knowledge, but knowledge about God. The attested truth of God, as the New Translation puts it. Here is a new type of knowledge, you see. Let us go on and see how he continues with this contrast. Look at verse 6. "Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, Well, what is this wisdom? Well, he says, it isn't the wisdom of this world. It isn't the knowledge that the world knows about and can be expert in. It isn't that at all. It doesn't belong to that realm. It is not the wisdom of this world. Well, what is it? Well, verse 7 tells us. We speak the wisdom of God. The wisdom that comes from God. It's a knowledge that has concern with God, and it's a mystery. The wisdom of God in a mystery. And then to add to it, the hidden wisdom. Now, here you see is an entirely different kind of wisdom. The wisdom of God, which is a hidden wisdom. And then look at verse 9, stating it so gloriously. Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered the heart of men, the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. These are the things that we are concerned about here. The things that God hath prepared for them that love him. Not laws of nature, not the things that are amenable to scientific investigation. The things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But I've got a still more marvelous statement to hold before you. Listen to this. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God. That's the type of knowledge with which we are concerned. And then he repeats that in verse 11. For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of man which is in him, even so the things of God knoweth no man, but the Spirit of God. Why does the method have to be essentially different here? And here is the answer. The type of knowledge is eternally different. What knowledge is this? Well, it's not scientific knowledge. It's not the wisdom of this world. It's nothing that man can discover or arrive at. Well, what is it? Oh, here's the phrase. The deep profundities, the abysmal things of God. My friends, that is what we are concerned about here, the deep things of God. What are these? Well, you know, this new translation, again, I'm not expressing an opinion on it at this point. They suggest that here it means the depth of God's own nature. And I believe they're right up to a point. It includes that. The deep things of God. What are these deep things of God? What are we here to do tonight? What is the preaching of Christianity about? What is this message? What are we here to find out? Are we to find out here whether there are men in Mars, whether there is life in Jupiter? No, that's not the business. Are we here to try to discover some instruments or appliances that will make labor much less in the home or in the factory? Are we here going to use the knowledge we've got in order that we needn't eat with a knife and fork any longer, but just swallow a tablet? Is that it? My dear friend, it isn't. That's what men can do, and it's all right as far as it goes. But here, the whole realm is different. What are we looking at? You who think that you can bring your scientific method. You who say, I've been trained as a philosopher. I've got a brain. I'm going to use all this. And if I can't, I don't want it. Listen to what you're facing. The deep things of God. What is this? Well, it's God himself. The being of God. Did you notice it? It's here in this one chapter. The blessed Holy Trinity. God the Father. Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory. They crucified the Lord of glory, he says. That's Jesus Christ. And then what else? Oh, the Spirit of God. God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. What are we concerned about here? What are we examining? Well, we're looking into the mystery of the blessed Holy Trinity. God in three persons. The triune God. One God, but three persons. The Holy Trinity. Is your scientific knowledge any use to you here? What's the value of your best philosophy at this point? My dear friend, you're looking into eternal mystery. Who can understand that? Three persons, one God in three persons. Do you want to try to understand it? Are you mad enough? Are you insane enough to try to pit your little pygmy mind to that? Because you can send up your rocket a given number of miles, do you think that that's going to take you into heaven and you'll unravel and dissect and discover the meaning of the mystery of the blessed Holy Trinity? That's something of the deep things of God. Can you think of eternity? Can you think of endlessness? Can you think of one who has always existed and ever will from eternity to eternity? Can you think of absolute holiness? Can you think of spotless purity? Can you think of omniscience? Can you imagine omnipotence? These are the deep things of God. And are you bringing your scientific method here? Can't you see the madness of it? The type of knowledge is altogether and entirely different. But it doesn't stop at that. What else? Well, says Paul, what I declare to you was this. How the three members of that blessed Holy Trinity in eternity, and this is the marvelous and the amazing thing, we're concerned about men who is going to fall into sin and become the slave and the dupe of the devil. And how they met in a great and eternal council to draw up a wonderful plan for the redemption of men. Listen, we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery. Verse 7, even the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the world unto our glory. Before God ever made this world, he had planned the redemption of the world. He had ordained it before the foundation of the world. The great plan and purpose of salvation and of redemption worked out by the members of the Holy Trinity before the very dawn of time. That's what you're examining. The problem of men in sin. The problem of men's fallen nature. The problem of how a holy God can ever forgive such a sinful, rebellious creature. Do you know, my friends, that's the most staggering problem that God himself has ever known? You know, the problem of sending a man up into outer space is child's play. It isn't in the same category at all. It isn't in the same world. Here's the greatest problem of all. How can a just and a holy and a righteous God forgive a rebellious, sinful, evil man? And the conference was held between the three persons before the foundation of the world. And this is what has happened, says Paul. This is my message. This is the proclamation of the Christian faith. The Son said, what can be done? And the Father said, how can I deal with men's sin? How can I punish it without destroying men? I must find a way whereby I can punish the sin and yet save the sinner. The need is for a man who himself is sinless and perfect, and who yet is big enough and great enough for me to put the sins of men on him and punish them in him without destroying him. There is no such man. The first man I made was perfect. I called him Adam. He fell. If I make another, he'll do the same. The devil is too strong. What can I do? Where can I find a man? And the Son, as it were, stepped forward and said, here I am. Send me. The deep things of God. The blessed Holy Trinity planning man's salvation, seeing the problem and discovering this marvelous, amazing way. This is the wisdom of God. The Son of God coming, surrendering himself, divesting himself of his glory, taking unto him human nature, being born as a babe, living as a man, giving a perfect obedience. Oh, the mystery of it all. It's not surprising that Paul looked at it one day and said, great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifest in the flesh. Where's your science, my friend? Where's your philosophy? Where's your human wisdom and understanding? It doesn't understand. It doesn't begin to. It boggles at it. It's out of its depth. No searching can ever find this. This is God's declaration. This is God's revelation. The Son came. He lived that life of obedience, and there he is, dying on the death of the cross. I determined, he says, not to know anything among you save Jesus Christ and him crucified. Why? Oh, it's there you plumb the depths of the mystery of God, the deep things of God. Look at him. What is it? It's a man dying. I agree, but it's more. It's God dying. It's the Lord of glory dying. Oh, the deep things of God. And he is dying in order that you and I might be forgiven. They crucified the Lord of glory, but they didn't know that what was happening there was this, that God's great plan was being worked out and put into operation, and he triumphed. He bore the punishment. Though he died, he rose again. He was the Son of God, you see. He couldn't be held by death. He burst us under the bands of death and arose triumphant o'er the grave. He ascended into heaven. He is seated at the right hand of God in the glory. The deep things of God. And then the Spirit was sent. What for? To convince the world of the need of this, of sin and righteousness and judgment, to apply it to us, to convict us of sin, to make us see the need, to make us see the folly of the scientific method here, and to come as little children and believe. God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit, not the princes of this world to us. Nobody's. God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit, for the Spirit searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God. And what has he revealed to us? Oh, this great and glorious plan of salvation carried out in Jesus Christ. And then he tells us, believe on him, accept the message, give yourself to him. What happens? Well, he'll give you a new nature. He'll make a new man of you. He that is spiritual judgeth all things. He's the contrast with the natural man. That's how we were. The natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto, but he that is spiritual. Here's a new man, you see. No longer with the world's wisdom and the scientific method. He that is spiritual. He's got the mind of Christ. We have the mind of Christ. He's got a new understanding. He sees things through the Spirit. And what does he see? Oh, he not only sees that he's forgiven freely, though he's a vile and a helpless and a hopeless sinner. He not only sees that Christ died for him and rose again for his justification. He not only knows that he's a new man with a new nature. He's got something wonderful to look forward to. We speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the world, unto our glory. He looks into this deep, mysterious thing of God, that we are being prepared, what for? For death? No. For our glory. Eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither hath it entered into the heart of men, the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. It isn't whether there's life on Mars or Jupiter or the moon. It's beyond it, the glory, the presence of God, our glory. And things which baffle not only description, but the very imagination itself. These are the deep things of God. And no human investigation or experimentation can ever find them out nor discover them. They're an entirely different type of knowledge and belong to a different realm. That's the first reason why it must be the case that the scientific method is of no value. But there's a second. The natural man's inability, his blindness, and his antagonism. Listen, which none of the princes of this world knew. Why not? Because they were blind. For had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. They were looking at the Lord of glory. They saw a fellow, a carpenter. They couldn't see. They were blind. Listen to man's inability. What man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of man which is in him? Even so the things of God knoweth no man, but the Spirit of God. You may have the greatest brain in the universe, but it won't help you at all to understand the things of God. Nothing but the Spirit can do this. Indeed, the natural man is opposed, is antagonistic. The natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for their foolishness to him. Nonsense, he says. Stuff and nonsense. I'm interested in rockets. I'm interested in the possibility of life on the moon or somewhere else. That's going to help us to live in this world. Is it? Even that's doubtful, isn't it, before you go any further? But I ask you, what has all that got to do when you put it by the side of this? The deep things of God. To the natural men, they're just foolishness. But you see, the trouble with the natural man is that he doesn't understand. He that is spiritual understands all things, yet he himself is not understood of any other man. Here's your natural man, your scientist, philosopher. He looks at a Christian, he says, what a fool. He says, look at that man. Look how much he's missing. He misses the joys of drink and sex and having a wonderful time. What fools these Christians are, robbing themselves of so much. That's what he says, isn't it? It's because of his blindness. It's because of his inability. It's because he knows nothing about the deep things of God. Poor fellow. Poor blind bat that hasn't his eyes open to the glories that are there before him. No wonder the apostle throws out a challenge in the last verse. Who hath known the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him? It's the inevitable question to ask. The apostle was rather fond of this question. Listen to him asking it in Romans 11, verses 33 and following. Having described something again of the plan of God and the depth of the riches of God and of the deep things of God, he stops and says, oh, the depth of the riches, both of the wisdom and the knowledge of God. How unsearchable are his judgments, and his ways past finding out. For who hath known the mind of the Lord, or who hath been his counselor, or who hath first given to him, and it shall be recompensed unto him again? For of him, and through him, and to him are all things, to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen. The type of knowledge, my friend. Can't you see the thing is inevitable? There's only one way to arrive at this knowledge of the deep things of God. It is that God should reveal them. And the apostle says, I came to you to tell you about them. I came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of God, the assured, certain, certified things of God. How did he know about them? Well, the Lord himself had revealed them to him on the road to Damascus. He didn't know himself until then. He was working against it all, a blasphemer, a persecutor, an injurious person. But Christ revealed himself and the message to him. He gave him the message, and he declared it. And he says he does it not with enticing words of men's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. I knew when I came to you, said Paul, that all my arguments and all my eloquence and all I have could never make you see it. Nothing but the Spirit of God can make you see it. The type of knowledge. No man knoweth the things of a man, save the Spirit of man that is in him. Even so knoweth no man the things of God, save the Spirit of God. And it is only as he uses me, and as he did use me, that you came to see that your faith, he says in the next verse, should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. My dear friend, you know, it takes the power of God to make anybody see these truths. The natural man says rubbish, folly, foolishness. And the power of your rockets and all your science can never make a man see it. But thank God, the Spirit of God can. God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God. We have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit which is of God, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of God. The Spirit takes the mist away. He removes the veil. He gives clarity. He gives power into my spiritual optic nerve, and I see them. He alone can do it. I'm born blind. We're all born blind. And it takes a miracle of regeneration and renewal to enable us to see. The Spirit does it. We have the mind of Christ. Well, my dear friends, there it is. Don't you see that we ought to rejoice in this? Why should we rejoice in it, says someone? Well, I'll tell you. If salvation were dependent upon the scientific method, well, then there would be literally no hope for many of us in this congregation tonight. If a man is to be saved and to be forgiven and to go to heaven as the result of his brain power, his understanding, his reason, his research, his trial and error, the scientific method, well, then I say you might as well abolish all your missionary societies at once. What's the use of saying something like that to people who can't read nor write and who've never been taught to think? But you needn't go as far as that. What hope have the vast majority of people in this country got? If that were the way of salvation, it would be the special preserve of your VIPs. And the common people would have nothing. They'd be consigned to hell and to perdition. Thank God that this is different. Do you see it? Are you ready to receive it? If not, it means that you're unspiritual, that you're still a natural man, that you're like the princes of this world that come to naught, and you'll come to naught with all your great brain and scientific method. You know it won't be of much help to you on your deathbed, will it? Do you think you'll be analyzing the process of death when you're dying? You think you'll be trying to imagine what lies beyond it? Fool, of course you won't. You'll be disintegrating. You'll be coming to naught. And that is the truth of all who don't receive this. Oh, I plead with you in the name of God, be wise, recognize the truth. If any man willeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be made wise. Admit you can't, admit you're beyond your depth, admit that the deep things of God are too great. Say, I'm like a little child, I don't know where I am. I don't understand myself, I don't understand life, I don't understand death. Oh God, I'm not going to try to. I believe thy word, I believe thy Son, thou hast sent him. I accept the revelation. Give me understanding, lead me on, enlighten me by thy Spirit. Speak like that. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved. Amen.